Captain Junho Kim stood tall on the bridge of the human ship UES Dauntless. The large view screen showed an alien ship floating in the darkness of space. It was long and pointed, like the body of a shark. The alien ship had many weapons that stuck out from its sides. "Captain, they're not answering our calls, Kyo," said Haewon Park. She was in charge of talking to other ships. Her fingers moved quickly over her screen as she tried again and again. Junho nodded. "Keep trying. We came here to talk, not to fight." This was humanity's first meeting with the Vargir. Humans had been traveling in space for only 50 years. In that time, they had met 6 alien races. All of them were peaceful plant eaters. The Vargir were different. "Sir, I'm getting some strange readings," said Do-hyun Lee, the science officer. His eyes were wide as he looked at his screen. "Their ship is scanning us. Very deeply. They seem very interested in our teeth." Junho raised an eyebrow. "Our teeth?" "Yes, sir. And our muscle structure. And our eyes. The way they face forward. The front-facing eyes of a predator." Junho understood now. The Vargir were scanning them to see if humans were hunters. Suddenly, the view screen changed. An alien face filled the screen. The Vargir had scales like a lizard, but they were a deep blue color. Its eyes were yellow with thin black lines down the middle. Sharp teeth filled its mouth. "I am Supreme Hunter Thrax of the Vargir Dominion," the alien said. Its voice was rough and deep. "You will state your purpose in our territory." Junho stepped forward. "I am Captain Junho Kim of the United Earthship Dauntless. We come in peace, seeking friendship and trade." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You come armed." "Only for defense. All ships carry some weapons. Space can be dangerous." Thrax made a sound, like a hiss. "You are meat eaters." Junho felt the mood on the bridge change. Something was wrong. "We are omnivores. We eat both plants and meat. You hunt. You kill. You are predators." Thrax leaned closer to the screen. "The galaxy already has its predators' soft skin. Us." Minji Song, the cultural officer, whispered to Junho. "Sir, I think they see us as competition. In their culture, there can only be one top hunter in any area." Junho tried again. "Supreme Hunter Thrax, we have no wish to compete with you. Humans have moved beyond hunting for survival. We..." "Lies." Thrax cut him off. "We have studied your ship. You still have the eyes of hunters, the teeth of killers, the muscles of fighters. You cannot hide your true nature from us." The alien ship suddenly began to move. Lights all over its hull began to glow. "They're charging weapons," shouted Junseo Kang from the weapons station. "All over their ship." Junho didn't hesitate. "Shields up. Power to engines. Get us some distance." The Dauntless pulled away just as green beams of energy shot from the Vargir ship. Most missed, but one hit the shields. The whole ship shook. "Shields at 82%, reported Junseo. "That was just one hit." Junho gripped the arms of his captain's chair. "Open a channel," Haewon tried. "They're not answering, sir." The alien ship was coming after them. It was faster than the Dauntless. Much faster. "They hunt like wolves," said Do-hyun, watching the alien ship's movements. "Quick bursts of speed to catch prey." Junho thought fast. Wolves were fast, but they tired quickly. "Let's see how long they can keep up that speed. Full power to engines. Take us around that moon." The Dauntless shot forward, heading for the small moon nearby. The Vargir ship followed, gaining on them. "They're still charging more weapons," said Junseo. "I count at least 20 weapon ports, now active." "Sir," said Minji, "I've been going through the data we have on the Vargir. Their society is built around hunting. The stronger you are, the higher your place. They've conquered at least 8 other races, all of them plant eaters." Junho understood. "And now they've met another meat eater, a possible rival." More green beams shot past the ship. The Dauntless shook again as one found its mark. "Shields at 64%, Junseo reported. "They're not playing around?" "Neither are we," said Junho. "Junseo, Target their engines. Minimal power. I just want to slow them down, not destroy them. Yes, sir. Junseo's fingers flew over his controls. Ready? Fire. The Dauntless shot back for the first time. A blue beam hit the Vargir ship right at its engines. The alien ship slowed down a little. Their speed dropped by 15%. Do-hyun reported. But they're already fixing the damage. They're very good at it. Of course they are, said Minji. They've evolved to be perfect hunters. Quick healing would be important. Another hit rocked the Dauntless. Shields at 41%, said Junseo. We can't take much more of this. Junho watched, the alien ship on the screen. It moved like an animal, all instinct and aggression. They're too focused on the hunt. They're not thinking about what happens next. The captain made a decision. New plan, all stop. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at him in shock. Sir? Haewon asked. I said all stop. Cut engines. Now. The Dauntless slowed and then stopped in space. The Vargir ship, not expecting this, shot past them. They think like predators, Junho explained. They expect prey to run. When prey stops running, it confuses them. Sure enough, the alien ship had to turn around. It took several seconds, giving the Dauntless time. Junseo, target their main weapons. Higher power this time. Yes, sir. The Dauntless fired again. This time 3 of the aliens' weapon ports went dark. Good, said Junho. Haewon, open a channel and broadcast on all frequencies. Channel open. Junho stood straight and spoke clearly. Supreme Hunter Thrax, this is Captain Junho Kim. We did not come here to fight, but we will defend ourselves. Your ship is faster than ours. Your weapons are stronger. But humans don't need to be the fastest or strongest to win. For a long moment, there was silence. Then Thrax's face appeared on the screen again. He looked angry, but also curious. You fight strangely, soft skin. Not like a proper predator. Humans haven't been proper predators for thousands of years, Junho replied. We've evolved, changed, found better ways to survive than just being the strongest hunter. Thrax made a clicking sound with his teeth. Interesting. You will surrender your ship and come with us. The High Council will want to study your species before we decide if you are a threat to the Dominion. I'm afraid we can't do that, said Junho. But we are still open to peaceful talks. There is no peace between predators, said Thrax. Only dominance or submission. The screen went black. They're charging weapons again, said Junseo. All of them. Junho returned to his chair. Send an emergency signal to Earth. Tell them everything that's happened, then prepare for jump to light speed. But sir, said Do-hyun, if we leave now, they'll see it as running away, as weakness. Let them, said Junho. The first rule of survival isn't to be the strongest hunter. It's to live to fight another day, and to bring friends next time. As the Dauntless prepared to jump away, Junho looked at the alien ship one more time. The galaxy's apex hunters had just met humans, and they weren't ready for what that meant. Neither side knew it yet, but the Predator War had just begun. 3 months had passed since the first meeting with the Vargir. It had not gone well. The alien predators had attacked 5 human colonies. Each time they struck hard and fast, then left before human ships could arrive. Major Jinwoo Kang looked out over the fields of New Seoul. The human colony was on a planet with 2 suns. Jinwoo wore dark glasses to protect his eyes from the bright light. Around him, 500 soldiers prepared for battle. The Vargir ships will be here within an hour, said his second-in-command, Captain Sunhai Lee. She was checking her weapon, a plasma rifle. Central Command says there are 3 of their hunting ships. Jinwoo nodded. And we have no ships to protect us. No, sir. The nearest Earth fleet is 2 days away. Jinwoo was not worried. He had studied the Vargir attacks on other colonies. The aliens always followed the same pattern. They were creatures of instinct. That made them predictable. They will attack the city center first, he said. They think like hunters. They go for the heart. Sunhai looked at the map on her tablet. But most of our people are in the farming areas. The city center is mostly empty. Jinwoo smiled. Exactly. The Vargir ships came just as the second sun was setting. They were shaped like arrows, pointed and deadly. They landed near the center of the small city. The doors opened, and out came the Vargir warriors. They were tall, almost 7 feet. Their blue scales shone in the fading light. Each carried a weapon that looked like a long claw made of metal. They moved with grace and power, like perfect hunters. Jinwoo watched from a hidden position as the aliens spread out. There were about 100 of them. They moved in small groups of 2 or 3, never larger. They don't hunt in big groups, he said quietly to Sun Hai. They compete with each other. The Vargir searched the empty buildings, growing more confused and angry. They had expected to find humans hiding in fear, but there was no one. Finally, the largest Vargir, probably their leader, let out a loud roar. The sound echoed through the empty streets. Jinwoo pressed a button on his radio. Now. All around the city, humans opened fire, not from inside the buildings where the Vargir were looking, but from underground. The settlers had built tunnels beneath the city for storage. Now those tunnels were full of soldiers. The Vargir were caught in the open. Many fell in the first attack. The rest tried to find cover, but they were confused. They had expected to be the hunters, not the hunted. Keep firing, Jinwoo ordered. Don't let them regroup. The aliens tried to fight back. They were strong and fast. One Vargir could probably kill 3 or 4 humans in close combat. But they never got the chance. The humans stayed hidden, firing from safety. They're retreating to their ships, Sun Hai reported after 20 minutes of fighting. Jinwoo nodded. Phase 2. Cut them off. New groups of soldiers appeared from the tunnels, now between the Vargir and their ships. The aliens were trapped. The Vargir leader seemed to realize this. He let out another roar, but this one sounded different, almost like a question. He's confused, said Sun Hai. This isn't how prey is supposed to act. We are not prey, said Jinwoo. He stood up from his hiding place and walked out into the open, holding his hands up to show he was not holding a weapon. The Vargir leader saw him and moved forward. The alien was almost twice Jinwoo's size, with muscles that looked like they could crush stone. You fight without honor, the Vargir said in rough human language. You hide like grass eaters. Jinwoo shook his head. No, we fight to win, that's what humans do. You should face me in single combat, the Vargir said, hitting his chest with one clawed hand. Predator against predator. Why would I do that? Asked Jinwoo. You're bigger than me, stronger. You have natural weapons, I would lose. The Vargir seemed confused again. Then you admit I am superior? In a one-on-one fight with no weapons? Yes, Jinwoo said simply. But that's not how humans hunt. We never have. How do you hunt then? The alien asked. He seemed truly curious. Together, Jinwoo said. In groups, using our brains more than our muscles. Making tools and plans, outthinking our prey, not just overpowering it. The Vargir leader looked around at the human soldiers surrounding his warriors. For the first time, he seemed to understand. You hunt like the swarm rats of our home world, he said. Small, weak creatures, but dangerous in large numbers. Jinwoo didn't know what swarm rats were, but he got the idea. Maybe, but those swarm rats never built spaceships, did they? The alien was quiet for a moment. What happens now, human? Now, you and your warriors put down your weapons, said Jinwoo. You'll be prisoners until your people and mine can talk properly. No more attacks. Real discussion. The Vargir leader hissed. My people do not surrender. Neither do mine, said Jinwoo. But we do make smart choices. You have 50 warriors left, we have 500 soldiers. Your ships can't take off without being shot down. You can't win this fight. For a long moment, the two leaders stared at each other. Then the Vargir did something surprising. He laughed. It was a rough, growling sound. You are not what we expected. Soft skin, he said. The reports said humans were weak, easy prey. Your reports were wrong, said Jinwoo. Yes, the alien agreed. They were. In orbit above New Seoul, Commander Yoon-ji Choi watched the three Vargir ships. They were just sitting there, waiting for something. Probably waiting for their ground forces to finish the attack. Yoon-ji's ship, the UES Horizon, was much smaller than the alien vessels. It had arrived early, before the main Earth fleet. Now it was hiding behind the planet's moon, watching. "Their shields are still up," said her tactical officer Han Bin-yoon. "We can't hit them from here." Yoon-ji nodded. She had been studying Vargir ships for weeks now. They were powerful but used a lot of energy. Their shields couldn't stay up forever. "We wait," she said. "They'll lower their shields eventually. They always do. They think there's nothing to fear here." 4 hours. Later, Hanbin sat up straight at his console. "Commander, the largest Vargir ship just lowered its shields. They appear to be opening their landing bay doors." Yoon-ji smiled. "Perfect. Move us into position. Target their engine core and weapon systems." The UES Horizon slipped out from behind the moon and flew straight toward the largest Vargir ship. By the time the aliens noticed, it was too late. The human ship fired 6 precise shots. The Vargir vessel's engines exploded. Its weapons went dark. It began to drift. The other 2 Vargir ships raised their shields and turned to attack. But the Horizon was already moving away at full speed, back toward the moon. "They're following us," said Hanbin. "Both ships. They're angry." "Good," said Yoon-ji. "Let's see how long they can keep up that speed." The human ship darted around the moon, using its gravity to gain speed. The 2 Vargir ships followed, their engines burning hot as they pushed to catch their prey. Yoon-ji watched the energy readings from the alien ships. "They're burning too hot. They can't maintain that for long." After 20 minutes of chase, the Vargir ships began to slow down. Their engines needed to cool. That was when Yoon-ji turned her ship around and attacked again. 3 more shots, and the second Vargir ship lost its weapons. The third tried to flee, but the Horizon had already damaged its engines. In less than an hour, Commander Yoon-ji Choi had disabled 3 Vargir warships with her single, smaller vessel. Down on the planet, the Vargir leader received the news over his radio. He looked at Jinwoo with new respect. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we should talk after all." Jinwoo nodded. "That would be wise. The Vargir may be the galaxy's apex hunters, but humans? We're something else entirely." 6 months into the war with the Vargir, things were changing. The aliens had stopped their random attacks on human colonies. Now they were gathering a large fleet. They planned to attack Earth itself. Dr. Na-young Baek sat in her lab on the space station orbiting Mars. Around her were screens showing Vargir biology. She had been studying the aliens for months. Today, she would present her findings to Admiral Sung-min Yoon and the United Earth Command. "Are you ready?" asked her assistant Tae-hee Yoon. Tae-hee was an engineer, not a doctor, but she had been helping Na-young understand how to use Vargir biology against them. "As ready as I'll ever be," said Na-young. She gathered her notes and headed for the meeting room. Admiral Yoon was already there with 5 other military leaders. They all looked worried. The Vargir fleet was only 3 weeks away from Earth. "Dr. Baek," said Admiral Yoon, "please tell us you have good news." Na-young nodded. "I believe I do, Admiral. I've found several weaknesses in Vargir biology that we can use against them." She touched a button, and a 3D image of a Vargir appeared in the center of the table. The alien looked strong and deadly. The Vargir evolved as perfect hunters on their homeworld. Na-young explained. "They are stronger than humans, faster. Their scales are like natural armor. Their teeth and claws are natural weapons." Admiral Yoon frowned. "This doesn't sound like good news, Doctor." "I'm getting to that," said Na-young. "The Vargir are perfect. Hunters, yes, but that's also their weakness. They stopped evolving." "What do you mean?" asked one of the other leaders. "The Vargir reached the top of their food chain millions of years ago," Na-young said. "They had no natural predators, no real competition, so they stopped changing. They didn't need to adapt anymore." She changed the image to show a human next to a Vargir. The human looked small and weak in comparison. Humans, on the other hand, were never the strongest animals on Earth. We weren't the fastest. We didn't have the best natural weapons. so we had to adapt in different ways. Tae-hee stepped forward. We became persistence hunters, she said. We couldn't outfight our prey, so we learned to outlast them. We would chase animals until they got tired and couldn't run anymore. Na-young nodded. This led to 3 main advantages that humans have over the Vargir. She held up one finger. First, endurance. Vargir muscles are designed for short bursts of speed and strength. They tire quickly. Humans can keep going for hours or even days. She held up a second finger. Second, adaptability. Vargir don't handle changes in temperature very well. They need it to be hot but not too hot. Humans can live in almost any environment. She held up a third finger. Third, cooperation. Vargir hunt alone or in very small groups. They compete with each other. Humans work together in large groups. We share knowledge and help each other. Admiral Yoon leaned forward. And how do we use these advantages to stop their fleet? Na-young smiled. I've designed a new environmental system for our ships. It creates conditions that are very uncomfortable. For Vargir, slightly too hot, slightly too humid. Nothing that would kill them, but it would make them tired faster. Tae-hee added, and I've modified our weapon systems to target their unique biology. Their scales protect them from direct hits, but they're sensitive to certain frequencies of sound and light. The Admiral looked thoughtful. This could work, but their fleet is still 3 times the size of ours. That's where our third advantage comes in, said Na-young. We need to get help. From who? Asked Admiral Yoon. We're the only meat-eaters in this sector of space. From the plant-eaters, said Na-young. The races that the Vargir have been hunting and enslaving for centuries. 2 weeks later, Captain Jun-ho Kim was back on the bridge of the UES Dauntless. His ship had been repaired and upgraded with the new systems designed by Na-young and Tae-hee. 6 other human ships flew with him. They were heading for a planet called Veltar. Are you sure this is going to work? Asked Haewon Park. She still handled communications on the Dauntless. No, said Jun-ho honestly. But we have to try. The Veltarians were one of the plant-eating species that the Vargir had conquered long ago. They looked a bit like deer, but they stood on 2 legs and had 4 arms. They were peaceful farmers who had never developed weapons of their own. We're in orbit around Veltar, said Jun Seo-kang from the pilot's seat. There's a Vargir patrol ship nearby. They've seen us. Good, said Jun-ho. Let them watch. Haewon, open a channel to the Veltarian capital city. A few moments later, a Veltarian face appeared on the screen. He had large, gentle eyes and spots on his face. This is High Grower Thelen of Veltar, he said in a soft voice. Why have you come here, humans? You bring danger to our world. Hi, Grower Thelen, said Jun-ho. I am Captain Jun-ho Kim of Earth. I've come to offer you something that the Vargir never have. Freedom. The Veltarian's eyes widened. The hunters are our masters. It has been this way for 1,000 years. It doesn't have to be that way anymore, said Jun-ho. The Vargir aren't invincible. We've proven that. And with your help, we can drive them back for good. Our help? Thelen seemed confused. We are not fighters. We have no weapons. You have numbers, said Jun-ho. There are billions of Veltarians, and only millions of Vargir. And you have something else. Knowledge of Vargir weaknesses. You've lived under them for centuries. You know their habits, their bases, their supply routes. The Veltarian was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, The hunters will punish us severely if we help you. Not if we win, said Jun-ho. And we can win. Together. As they were talking, the Vargir patrol ship moved closer to the Dauntless. It was charging its weapons. Sir, said Jun Seo, they're going to attack. Jun-ho nodded but kept his eyes on the Veltarian. High Grower, I need your answer now. Will you help us? Thelen closed his eyes, thinking hard. Then he opened them with new determination. Yes, Captain. We will help you. Thank you, said Jun-ho. Then to his crew, activate the new defense systems. The Vargir ship fired, but its shots didn't damage the Dauntless's shields as much as before. Then the human ship fired back. Not normal weapons, but the special ones Tehi had designed. The Vargir ship's systems began to fail. Its weapons went silent. Its engines flickered. "What did you do to them?" asked Thelen in amazement. "We used their biology against them," explained Junho. "The lights and sounds from our new weapons confuse their senses. It's like a hunter being blinded by the sun or deafened by thunder." Over the next week, the humans taught the Veltarians how to make simple weapons and defenses. Not to kill, but to confuse and capture Vargir. The plan spread to other planets where plant-eaters lived under Vargir rule. When the Vargir fleet finally reached Earth, they found not just human ships waiting for them. There were also ships from 6 other races. All the plant-eaters that had been slaves for so long, all now fighting together. Supreme Hunter Thrax watched in disbelief from his command ship. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Those are prey species. They do not fight." His second-in-command had no answer. The Vargir had never imagined that the gentle plant-eaters could become a threat. They had never taught them to fight or use weapons, but the humans had. The battle began. The Vargir ships were stronger, but there were now more ships against them. And every human ship had the new systems that targeted Vargir weaknesses. Hour after hour, the fight continued. The Vargir fought fiercely at first, but they began to tire. Their reflexes slowed. Their aim got worse. The humans and their allies kept going. They took breaks in shifts. They worked together, covering each other. After 10 hours of fighting, the Vargir fleet began to retreat. Too many of their ships had been disabled. Their crews were exhausted. Admiral Sung Min Yoon watched from his command station on Earth as the enemy fled. "We did it," he said quietly. Young Beck stood beside him, tired but smiling. "Not because we were stronger or faster or more deadly, but because we were smarter and more adaptable. And because we weren't alone," added Tehi. The galaxy's apex hunters were learning a hard lesson. In the long game of survival, being the perfect predator wasn't enough. Sometimes being the perfect cooperator was better. 1 year after the Great Battle at Earth, Supreme Hunter Crax sat in the High Council chamber on the Vargir homeworld. He had taken over after Thrax was removed for losing the war. Around him sat 12 other hunters, the leaders of the most powerful Vargir families. "The humans have taken back 3 more of our worlds this week," said one of the council members. "They armed the Florax on Denton 7. The plant-eaters are now fighting our forces there." Crax growled low in his throat. This was not how things were supposed to be. For thousands of years, the Vargir had ruled as the galaxy's top predators. The plant-eaters obeyed them out of fear. It was the natural order. Then the humans came. "What is our next move, Supreme Hunter?" asked another council member. "Shall we gather our remaining forces for one final attack?" Crax was about to answer, when a voice came from the side of the room. "That would be a mistake." All the Vargir turned to look at the human standing there. He was Dr. Jihu Park, a prisoner they had captured early in the war. He was supposed to be in a cell, not in the council chamber. "Who brought this soft skin here?" demanded Crax. "I did," said an older Vargir named Drax. "He has been teaching me about human history. I think you should listen to him." Crax wanted to be angry, but he was curious. "Speak then, human. Why would attacking be a mistake?" Jihu stepped forward. He showed no fear despite being surrounded by the galaxy's deadliest predators. "Because you can't win a war of endurance against humans," he said simply. "It's not in your biology. Each battle tires you more. Each loss weakens your position. Meanwhile, humans are gaining allies and learning more about how to fight you." "So you suggest we surrender?" Crax's voice was dangerous. "No," said Jihu. "I suggest you make peace." The council chamber filled with angry growls and hisses. Peace was not the Vargir way. They conquered. They dominated. They did not compromise. Jihu waited for the noise to die down. "May I tell you a story about Earth?" he asked. Crax waved a clawed hand. "Speak." "On Earth long ago there were predators much stronger than humans," Jihu began. "Lions with sharp teeth and powerful jaws, bears that could kill with one swipe of their paw. Wolves that hunted in packs. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most naturally armed. The Vargir listened, interested despite themselves. So how did humans survive? Jihu asked. At first we used simple tools, spears, fire. We worked together in groups larger than any predator pack. We shared knowledge across generations. We changed our environment to suit us rather than adapting to it. He looked around at the council. Over time, something interesting happened. Some wolves began to work with humans instead of against them. They became dogs, our helpers and protectors. This partnership benefited both species. The wolves got steady food and safety. The humans got loyal companions who could warn of danger and help with hunting. You suggest we become like your dogs? One of the council members stood up, outraged. No, said Jihu calmly. I suggest you recognize that cooperation can be more powerful than competition. The wolves that became dogs now exist in the millions, on Earth. The wolves that continued to compete with humans are nearly extinct. The room was quiet as the Vargir considered this. Krax leaned forward. Humans have been on our territory for less than 2 years. You've won some battles, yes, but the Vargir have ruled for thousands of years. What makes you think you can change the natural order so quickly? Because humans have done it before, said Jihu. We went from simple hunters to space travelers. In just a few thousand years, a blink of an eye in evolutionary terms. We did it through cooperation, innovation, and adaptability. He stepped closer to Krax's chair. Supreme Hunter, the Vargir are magnificent predators. No one denies that. But predators who can't adapt die. 3 days later, a human ship arrived at the Vargir homeworld, the UES Dauntless, now commanded by Captain Haewon Park, since Junho Kim had been promoted to admiral. With her were Admiral Junho Kim himself and Dr. Na Young Baek. They were escorted to the High Council chamber where Krax and the other hunters waited. Welcome to Vargiron, said Krax formally. This is the first time non-hunters have been invited to our world. We are honored, said Junho with a small bow, and we hope it marks the beginning of a new relationship between our peoples. The peace talks lasted for 5 days. They were not easy. The Vargir did not want to give up their control of other species. The humans insisted that all intelligent beings deserved freedom. Finally, they reached an agreement. The Vargir would no longer rule other species as masters. Instead, they would offer protection in exchange for trade. Their hunting skills would be used to keep space lanes safe from pirates and dangerous animals. They would be guardians, rather, than conquerors. It goes against our nature, Krax admitted on the final day. But perhaps our nature has limited us. Young nodded. The most successful species aren't always the strongest. They're the ones that can change when they need to. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Krax approached Junho privately. There is one thing I don't understand, said the Vargir. Leader. When we first met your kind, we saw you as fellow predators, competitors. Why didn't you see us the same way? Junho thought for a moment. Humans were predators once, yes, but we've become something more. We learned that cooperation is stronger than competition. That understanding is more powerful than fear. That adaptation is better than perfection. And you think the Vargir can learn these lessons too? Krax asked. I know you can, said Junho. You already have. This peace agreement proves it. Krax made a sound that might have been a laugh. Perhaps we are not so different after all, Admiral. In some ways, no, agreed Junho. We both evolved to survive. The difference is that humans never thought we had reached our final form. We're always changing, always becoming something new. 1 year later, the first class of Vargir students arrived at the Earth Defense Academy. Young Vargir, who wanted to learn human ways of thinking and fighting. With them came students from all the former slave species, Veltarians, Florax, and others. Admiral Sung Min Yoon addressed them on their first day. Welcome to Earth, he said. You've come from across the galaxy to learn from us, but I want you to know that we will be learning from you as well. That's the human way. We take the best ideas from everywhere and everyone. A young Vargir raised his hand. Admiral, my parent was in the great battle at Earth. They told me that humans won because you were smarter than us. Is that true? Sungmin smiled. Not exactly. We won because we understood something important. In the long game of survival, it's not the strongest species that wins. It's not the fastest or the most deadly. It's the one that can change, the one that can work with others, the one that never stops learning. He looked out at the mixed group of students, predators and plant eaters sitting side by side. The galaxy's apex hunters weren't ready for humans, he said. But maybe we weren't ready for you either. Together, we'll create something new and better than either of us could alone. In the back of the room, Jun-Ho Kim and Na-Young Baek watched with pride. The war had been hard, but what came after might be even harder. And more important, creating a galaxy where strength came from cooperation, not domination. It wouldn't be easy. Old habits and instincts were hard to break. But if there was one thing humans knew how to do, it was adapt. And now they were teaching the rest of the galaxy to do the same.